إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وبعد. Dear respected brothers and sisters, today inshallah we're going to talk about a very beautiful quality of the believers. But before I talk about this quality, I want to imagine something. I want you to imagine that you went outside of your home, and before you took your car to go to work or school, you found someone trying to hit the ground and crack the earth with his hands or with his feet, or he's trying to look very tall as the buildings around him and mountains. What are you going to think about that person? Most likely you're going to think he's lost his mind, he's insane. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about this idea when he talked about how to be humble. And what are the signs of being humble? What are the actions that I'm supposed to do to be humble? One of the most beloved qualities to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Rasulullah told us, the most hated quality to Allah is arrogance. Even if I have an atom's weight of arrogance in my heart, I wouldn't make it to paradise. I wouldn't make it to Jannah. May Allah protect us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Allah said in verse number 37 in Surah Al-Isra, وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Do not walk on earth maraha. What is maraha? Marah is different from farah. Farah is something that's required in our religion to be happy. Allah said, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Believers are supposed to be happy with the blessings and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But marah is to be happy with arrogance and to be proud of yourself and to look down at people. Have you ever seen somebody walking and he's so arrogant, full of himself, looking down at people and so happily walking and arrogantly walking? That's what Allah is talking about. Do not walk on earth maraha. Do not walk on earth while you're arrogant, full of yourself and happy and looking down at people. Allah said, وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. He said, فِي الْأَرْض. Do not walk on earth. Why did he have to mention the word on earth? The scholars mentioned when Allah talked about humbleness, He's telling people that, look, I'm reminding you of your origin, where you came from. We're created from mud. We're created from mud. Sayyidina Adam is called Adam because he was called from Adim al-Ard. Adim al-Ard is the mud, the surface of the earth. The surface of the earth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, look, you were created from this mud, from the ground, from the earth. And when you die, you're going to go back to earth. You're going to be buried underground. And people are going to put dust on you. So remember who you are, where you came from, and where is your final destination after you die in this world. Allah said, مِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ. From this earth we have created you. وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ. And into it we're going to return you. وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. And on the day of judgment, you're going to be resurrected another time from that earth. So remember who you are. And then Allah said, إِنَّكَ لَن تَخْرِقَ الْأَرْض. تَخْرِقَ الْأَرْض has two meanings. Number one, you cannot crack the earth. You cannot really make holes in earth. Another meaning is that you cannot fall the earth very fast because you're so weak. I mean, if you're going to travel, for example, from here to another country, that could take 2 hours by flight. If you want to drive that distance, actually it takes like 20 hours. But if you want to walk, you're going to take few months for you to arrive to another country that the plane can take 2 hours. Which means you're too weak. إِنَّكَ لَن تَخْرِقَ الْأَرْض. You cannot really fall the earth that fast. Surely you can neither crack the earth nor stretch to the height of mountains. Imam Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he talked about this verse, he said the problem with arrogant people who walk arrogantly on the surface of the earth, they want to crack the earth. They think they can crack the earth. He said the problem is Allah can punish them with the opposite of their intention. So what they are thinking about themselves is that they can crack the earth. Allah can do the opposite by asking the earth to swallow them. And that is called khasf. And that's actually something that Rasulullah has told us about, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet said, بينما رجل يمشي في من كان قبلكم, while a man was walking in one of the previous nations before you, وعليه بردان يتبختر فيهما, he was wearing two pieces of very fancy clothes, and he was so happy with himself. قال النبي إذ خسف الله به, Allah has commanded the earth to swallow him because of his arrogance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us humbleness. Allahumma ameen. Ibn Kathir narrated that Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, may Allah be pleased with them, one time he saw a man walking bitabakhtur. He saw a man walking arrogantly. Then he looked at him and said, Subhanallah, inna lishayatini ikhwanan. The devils, they have brothers. Which means the brothers of the devil or the shaitan in this world are the arrogant people. And Al-Imam Al-Tahir ibn Ashur also narrated in his tafsir that Sayyidina Umar, the father of Abdullah ibn Umar, that we just talked about, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, one time he saw a man walking arrogantly, and then he said to him, هذه مشية, that way of walking arrogantly and being proud of yourself, that Allah hates. Allah hates that way of walking. And then he said, except if it's for the sake of Allah. How can I walk arrogantly for the sake of Allah? Yes, you can walk arrogantly for the sake of Allah in front of your enemies that are trying to attack you, to show them how strong you are. That is the only time when you can walk arrogantly, to show them that no, you're not topping me. You're not better than me. We're equal here. I'm gonna challenge you. The Prophet ﷺ warned us of walking arrogantly in a hadith narrated by Imam al-Tirmidhi. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يزال الرجل يذهب بنفسه, a man shall remain to exalt himself and be angry and look down at people, حتى يكتبه الله في الجبارين, until Allah asks his angels to write his name, that man's name, amongst the tyrants. فيصيبه ما أصابهم, and he will just be touched by their afflictions. He's just going to be punished the same way the tyrants are going to be punished. Why? Because he's walking arrogantly. So the action item today is to make sure you walk humbly. How did Rasulullah used to walk? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The way that he used to walk, alayhi salatu wasalam, is that he used to walk fast and he used to look down. كأنما يتحدر من صبب. The narration says as if he is going downhill. Downhill means he's on top of a mountain and he's going downhill. So when somebody's going downhill, how do you think he's walking? Number one, he's walking fast. So Rasulullah used to walk fast, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Number two, if somebody's going downhill from a mountain, he will not look up, he will look down. That's another sign of humbleness. So number one, you're walking fast. Number two, you're looking down, because that's a sign of humbleness. And number three, he knows where he's going. He wants to go to the bottom, downhill. So he knows where he's going. He doesn't just walk without any purpose, right and left. No, he knows where he's going. He's walking fast and he's being humble by looking down while he's walking. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated to us that Rasulullah used to walk very fast. That's how he used to walk normally. He used to walk very fast. He said, كان يمشي صلى الله عليه وسلم كأنما الأرض تطوى له, as if the earth is being folded for him. That's how fast he was. And he said, وَإِنَّا لَنَجْهَدُ أَنفُسَنَا وَإِنَّهُ لَا يَكْتَرِث. When we used to walk with him, the Sahaba used to walk with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, we strive very hard to catch him because he's walking very fast. وَإِنَّهُ لَا يَكْتَرِث. And he wouldn't even care. He wouldn't even pay attention, because that's how he walks. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So there's huge difference between walking very slowly, you don't know your purpose, you're arrogant, looking down at people, and between walking like the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, looking down, walking fast, as if you're going downhill and you know where you're going. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Al-Imam al-Qurtubi, in his tafsir, he took this ayah to a different dimension. He said sometimes arrogant people, they do certain activities only because the elites do those activities, not because they want to do these activities. Like what? Like hunting. He said some people go to hunting animals only because in their society, people who go hunting are the elites and the wealthy people and the powerful ones. And you can see this today. Some people hold certain phones and they strive to buy certain phones just because the elites buy these phones. Or to buy certain cars just because the elites buy those cars. Or to use certain words only because the elites and the rich people use those words. Some people even, I know some people who go play baseball just because the elites play baseball. That is something prohibited in Islam. Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned this, and his book is called Al-Jami' li-Ahkam al-Quran, the compendium of the rulings of the Quran, the tafsir of Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah ta'ala. So this is one of the rulings of this ayah. Do not just do some activities only because rich people are doing it. Be careful. There's another very dangerous type of arrogance that people do sometimes. We call it at-takabbur bil-ta'a. Perhaps sometimes you find some of the students, once he memorized the Quran, he feels that he's better than everybody else. You cannot even talk to him. You cannot even get through to him because he thinks he's better than you. He can lead people in Ramadan and Taraweeh prayer. Be humble. If Allah has gifted you with something, this Quran can elevate you, elevate your ranks to the highest level, and your arrogance can take you to hell. So be careful. Do not be arrogant because of your worship or because of your righteousness or because of the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. In another verse, Allah said, وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ. As-sa'r is a disease that comes in the necks of camels that makes the camel unable to look straight. As-sa'r is when the camel goes like this and it cannot look straight. Some people do this. That's called sa'r, out of arrogance. They do this out of arrogance. So Allah said, do not do that. وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ. That's what Luqman alayhi salam said to his son. And do not turn your nose up to people. When somebody is coming your way and you don't want to talk to him, you will turn and go another way, or look down and look another way, like to the right or the left, to make sure you're not looking at him. That's tasa'ir, that's sa'r, and that is prohibited in Islam. And do not try to use difficult words, as Ibrahim al-Nakha'i said, as-sa'r huwa at-tashadduq fil kalam. Some people try to use very difficult words just to show others they have a lot of vocabulary when they speak. That's another sign of arrogance. So we have a lot of signs of arrogance mentioned in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The action item today is to be humble, especially in the way you walk, like our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وأقول قولي هذا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون